welcome to the third episode of Let's Talk Matcha, where we dive into the bittersweet moments of the teenage experience, just like matcha. Both may be messy and imperfect, but that's what makes them beautiful in the end. With that, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm so excited for today's episode because I have a really special guest with me here today. She's a senior at my school and was one of just 10 girls awarded for the Girls Leading Change Award, and even had the incredible honor of being invited to the White House. On top of that, she's a talented singer, songwriter, poet, and a passionate advocate for empowering the youth and amplifying marginalized voices. Honestly, I'm so grateful to have her here today, and I can't wait for all of you to hear about her amazing journey. In this episode, we're going to dive into how she balances her extracurriculars, especially while going through the college application process, and being a teenager who's also just trying to be a high schooler. I feel so lucky to have this opportunity to learn from her firsthand, and I know you'll all be inspired too. Let's welcome Serena Griffin.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Okay, so to start off, how were your finals? We just had finals at our school, and how did you prepare for that, considering all of your extracurriculars, which we'll get more into later?
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so glad to be done with finals.
Too.
This was like, because I think now that I'm gonna be a third term senior, we don't have any more finals. So I'm done. These are my last
You don't?
finals of high school. No, because we're
Oh.
done earlier. They were good. They were a lot. I had 3 tests in one day, and I prepared for them just by like, oh my God. Honestly, I kind of had to like shirk some of my like extracurriculars for like a week to really lock in. I don't know. I spent a lot of time just studying. I spent my lunches like with my teachers like studying because I was like, guys, bad. But yeah, but I think they went okay. I hope. How were yours finals?
Mine were pretty good. I had to stop editing my second episode for a little bit, and I had to, like you said, focus on finals. On the first day, I had a biology final, I had a Spanish final, and then I had a faith project, an English essay, and then I also had a math final the next day. So we only take 5 classes at our school. So I mean, even though we learn a lot, I think it's a good like balance for everything, and they really like set us up to do well on our finals. But you're also juggling so much, like being a singer, a songwriter, a poet, and excelling in school. So what goes on behind the scenes, and how do you manage these commitments?
Yeah, I think it all. Okay, honestly, I'm still like figuring out how to fit everything into my schedule and make everything work, and like I never want to like do something that I'm only giving half of my effort to because I feel like that's just not really committing. Um so I honestly the main thing that I think of is like what do I want to prioritize? And I think that's like the number one thing that I think of. And then I kind of like whatever my main priority is at that moment, I structure everything around it. And so like for all my extracurriculars, I like to like set aside specific chunks of time for them and then like specific times of oh my God, chunks of time for like school and things like that and doing my homework. So that way I'm like actually like delegating focused, attentive like time to doing everything. But honestly, sometimes it's just really overwhelming. So I think there's a few things that I will like refuse to give up. And so like one of those is like sleep. Like even if I have a lot to do, that it can wait till tomorrow if I don't get enough sleep. Like going to the gym, things like that. And then like things that like I can kind of push to the side a little bit. Sometimes they just have to be pushed to the side to like if I have a hard deadline for something. Yeah, and I always just try and like schedule things to not overlap as much as possible, obviously. So like I have like an after school program on Thursday, so that was like I had that yesterday, and so like I make sure I intentionally like pick that day because I'm like I know on Thursdays it's a pretty light schedule because we only have 2 classes. So it's like little things like that, just trying to balance everything and like pack as much into a single day while also having time to like rest. Yeah.
Yeah, I like how you're able to like incorporate self-care into your daily routine. And would you say you have like a set routine for every day, or does that like fluctuate, I guess?
Honestly, I yes, but it might not be like the most like conventional self-care, but like genuinely I look forward to this every day. After school, I go to the gym and then I come home and I go on a walk before it gets dark out and then lock in, do my homework, cook dinner, all of that. And then my favorite part of the day, this is my self care. I take a shower and then I love to go to bed early. Like I'm a morning person. Like I would rather like go to sleep early and wake up early. So I try and get to bed early and before I do that, like I'll like brush my teeth, wash my face, all of that. But then I'll pop some popcorn and I'll eat that in bed and watch TV and then I'll go to sleep. And that's like my self-care. And I like look forward to it so much. It's so like relaxing for me. A little bit random, but
No, that's great. Would you say you do that every day? Like, is that like
um
set into your schedule?
every lucky day. Like I try to, not every day, because I mean some days I like do. I have to just stay up late and just do homework and then just go to sleep. But like I would say cool 4 to 5, 7 days out of a week.
That's actually pretty good. For me, oh my gosh, I cannot sleep early. Like, I think the earliest I've ever slept on a school night is like 10 o'clock.
Oh my gosh, what time
Yeah.
do you go to sleep?
Like midnight to 1.
Oh my
Just
god.
because, like, it depends on what season I'm in for volleyball.
Oh, right.
So if I'm in high school season, oh my gosh, it's so bad. Because I have practice from every day from 6 to 8.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was so late.
It's real. I don't know why volleyball is late, and especially because I'm on varsity, so it's like freshman goes first, then JV, and then varsity. So that's like a really big commitment. And 2 out of the 5 days of the week, I have weight training. So we have weights at like 4:15, and then we have that from 4:15 to 5. I want to say 5:30. Then you only get like a 30-minute break,
Oh my god.
and then you go 6 to 8 practice. And then if you
That's
don't
okay.
have that, yeah, if you don't have that, then you have a game, and that's like 2 to 3 days a week. And those games are at 7. It's 5 sets, so each game is like an hour to 2. So it's 5 sets.
Okay.
It's best out of 3, 25 points. So it's a long time, and especially like for me, I live pretty far away from where the games are, so I have to like sometimes I'll go like get in and out because that's my favorite post game meal, getting in and out. So I get in and out, and then I get home, and it's already like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then I have to like study and do everything, edit the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think the real question is how do you balance
Oh,
everything? 'Cause I
okay.
feel like that's even more than me.
No, oh my gosh, no.
Definitely. That's like more structured. I think the thing about me, it's like kind of like easier for me to balance everything because I'm kind of like in charge of like
Yeah.
everything. But
Yeah.
that's hard having to like balance like structured time slots for like games and practices. Like what do you do?
Yeah, I agree with that point. You're right. Because, like, I have to follow the schedule that's given to me
Yeah.
versus you can kind of, like, create your own schedule. But I guess for you, it's hard because you have to create your own schedule and, like, allocate time to certain activities. But for me, it's just given to me and I have to deal with it, you know?
That's just as hard, if not harder. That's like I'm impressed. I'm impressed with like everybody that does sports and then school.
Mhm.
Just like I know you have other extracurriculars
Yeah.
too, like student council, all of that. That's a lot.
Thank you. For me, let me think. How do I balance everything? For me, I sacrifice a lot of sleep. That's kind of like the opposite of you. I mean, I feel like you probably sacrifice a lot of sleep, but for me, I don't prioritize, if that makes sense. Like, I don't tell myself that I should go to sleep early. I don't like try to allocate the most time to sleep. It's like for me, I have to get it done as soon as I get the task at hand, and I literally cannot sleep if I don't finish it. So it's like I can't sleep if I don't finish the things that I have to do. So like let me think. If I have to like after practice on club season, which is from like January to May, after high school season, I have to let me think. I have practices 2 days a week, 7:30 to 9:30.
That's late.
Yeah, it's pretty late, and I get out of school at I want to say 3:30 because I go to like the office hours after school every day, and then I get home at 4:15, 4:30, just because I have to like commute from school to school and back home. And when I get home, I do like an hour and a half of homework. I start getting ready at 7, and I literally like eat while I'm getting ready, just because like I can't eat dinner at like 10 o'clock every night. That's bad. So then I go to practice, and I feel like for me it's pretty good because practice is kind of like my escape from all the things I have to do outside of school and just like schoolwork and like that. So when I'm at practice, I strictly think about just what I have to do in that moment versus I'm like dwelling on the past or thinking about the future. Because I tend to like future trip a lot. I either future trip or I think about things that happened in the past, which I know I shouldn't do. But I think practice is a great escape from that because I can focus on like other things and have like a change of scenery. So yeah, what about you? Do you have what's your like your escape?
Mine is like my like going to the gym and going on my walks. Like that's kind of like a newer thing. Well, like not the gym, but more so like the walking. Cause I do. That's 5 days out of a week. I'll go to the gym and like I used to do cardio at the gym, but I decided now like my New Year's resolution was to get 10K steps a day.
Wow.
And so that's like hard on a school day. I didn't realize how hard it was until I started tracking my steps and I was like, oh my god. And so like but going on those walks has been like my form of that. Well, also the gym, but like more so. So like now instead of doing cardio at the gym, I just go on like really long walks. I went on 2 today. I went on one as soon as I woke up, and then I went another one after I got home from the gym. And I've just been like I love music, but just haven't been listening to music, and I've just been like, I don't know, I just like think. It's kind of, I guess that kind of sounds like the opposite of what you were saying, but it's like I think that's the time when I think about everything and I like process everything, and it's just like random stuff and just like, I don't know, like I like hearing the sounds of like not even I guess nature kind of just around my neighborhood. So I think that's nice. Yeah, that and the gym, I've just stopped listening to music at both of them, and I just like think.
Yeah,
And it's like an escape.
that's good. For me, I tried to make a Lenten promise. Just 'cause I'm Catholic, so every like Easter time you have to do this thing called Lent. And I tried to tell myself that I'm gonna like walk and run in the morning before school. And like yesterday, I was gonna wake up at like 6. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Today, I was gonna wake up at like 8, and I was gonna run around my neighborhood as well. I didn't wake up till 11 because I went to bed at 2. So, but I'm getting there, so it's okay. Like,
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine.
yeah. Okay, so you went to the White House. That's pretty amazing. What was your reaction to finding out you were selected for the Girls Didn't Change Award, and how did you even apply to that?
So I didn't apply. I was
Oh.
nominated and I didn't even know about it. Like I'm a part of this organization called Cinnamon Girl that I've been a part of and worked for like the past, now I guess it's about to be 4 years. So I joined my freshman year, or maybe a little bit before that. Anyways, it's a leadership development organization for girls of color, specifically like Black and brown girls, and that's been amazing. And I've done so much through there. There's been so many like amazing opportunities. Like I got to meet like Kamala Harris. I was like invited to go meet her at the tarmac when she landed at SFO, and that was really cool. It's like little things like that. I've done a lot of my poetry stuff not started from there, but like was really like, I don't know, they really helped me like cultivate all of that. And like through there, like I'm a published author of like 3 times our newest book just came out. So it's like all this like really exciting stuff from there. And so the executive director of Cinnamon Girl, Lena Jennings, she knew about all the stuff I was doing within Cinnamon Girl and also just outside of Cinnamon Girl. And I guess, I don't know how, but she nominated me, and I didn't know anything about it because I guess she wanted to, like, she was like, oh, like, let me just do it, and then if she gets it, then I'll say something, but if she doesn't, like, I'm not, yeah, basically. And I got an email from the White House, and I was like, oh, that's crazy. But that was, like, just step 1, I guess, or step 2 or something. I don't know how many steps were involved. And so then I had like an interview process where I had like 15 minutes of interviewing with like the members of the Gender Policy Council on the White House, or from the White House, and that was like terrifying. It was just on Zoom, and it was really fast paced and scary, and I kind of did not think I was gonna get it because I was like I don't know. I feel like I have my extracurriculars and stuff, but like it doesn't feel necessarily like I'm doing anything extraordinary. I'm just like doing things that I like to do. So I was really surprised when I got the call. They called me like really early in the morning, and my mom was recording because apparently they had reached out to her, so she already knew. And I picked up the phone and they told me, and I honestly, my reaction was like really underwhelming. I was
Really?
like, yeah, in my family, like, I'm known to be the one that's, like, more, like, I don't know, extroverted, more, like, I don't even know. And my brother is, like, the most nonchalant person you'll ever meet in your entire life. It's, like, so annoying. But my reaction was, like, a reaction he would have. Like, I was,
Really?
like, I was, like, wow, thank you so much. And that was it. It was so dry. Because I was just kind of in shock. And then it started to sink in with, like, within the next hour. And I was like, wait, that's really cool.
No, that makes total sense. I feel like, honestly, I don't know what my reaction would be. I can't even think about what it would be.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes sense that you had to take time to process that because that's such a big accomplishment. Oh my gosh. And like, what was it like actually being invited to the White House? And like, how was it like meeting the people there, meeting the First Lady? And did you meet Joe Biden?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was just really cool. It was very fast paced, honestly. I was there for 2 days, and they flew me out, put us up in a nice hotel.
Wow.
Like
Fancy.
It was so nice. And then just meeting all the other girls was really exciting, and I was just like really kind of like astonished by like the company I was in, because there were some really, really, really cool girls there. All of them. One of them, she was in the grade below me, and like we were all talking about like, oh, like what did we do? And she just like casually was like talking about how she created like an alternate test for breast cancer. Like I don't even know exactly what it was, but it's so impressive. And everybody there was like so humble and just like so supportive. It was just really, really fun. And then yeah, we just like we did some like I guess like bonding things together. We went to like a museum together. They took us bowling in the White House. There's a bowling alley there, which I did not know.
Wow.
But in one of the buildings, like underneath, there's a bowling alley. So we went bowling. And then that was kind of day one. And then day two was when we like met the first lady, met the president, had the whole like award ceremony, all of that. And that was really fast paced. It was really exciting though. That was the day we really got to like see everything. Yeah, we had lunch with like, oh my god, I'm blanking on her name.
It's okay.
But she is so cool, and she's done so much stuff. I don't remember her name right now, but she's the head of the Gender Policy Council, and she's just like the coolest woman ever. And like we were just talking about everything with her, and we were eating in like the most like fancy like suite, and like being, oh my god, it was crazy. And then yeah, and then it was the award ceremony. They took us outside to do press, which was like, I don't know, we basically got to see like the inner workings of like what you see on TV when there's like news. Like there's all these different newsstands that you just don't know are there like within the White House. I don't know. And then there's just like Secret Service walking around with like huge like rifles everywhere. It's like it was really like a crazy experience. And then the actual ceremony was just, the room was absolutely beautiful. That like probably felt like the most like surreal moment when we were walking in. And then we didn't meet the first lady until like right before the ceremony, and we were talking to her, and I was talking to her about poetry and stuff, because she's a professor and she teaches English, I think. We were talking about poetry. I was like, oh, she's really cool. And then during the actual ceremony, I was standing up at the podium, I was speaking, and I looked to the back of the room, and I was like, that looks like Joe Biden, who just walked in, because he wasn't, like, supposed to come, like, we weren't expecting that, and I was like, but nobody else saw him, and so I was, like, literally looking around at the girls on stage with me, and I was like, is anybody seeing this? But, like, nobody saw it, and, like, he was sitting in the back, so nobody in the room saw it either. And I got up there and I was speaking, whatever, and I like was like looking at him, and I was like, no, I'm pretty sure that's him. And then he like he smiled at me, and then I smiled, and they clipped that and they posted that on the White House Instagram. So that's the picture. That was the context behind that. And then yeah, and then the award ceremony, we walked out, and then he just like stayed back, and like I got to talk to him. He held my hand for like 5 minutes.
Oh my god, that is so cool.
He shook my hand, and then he just didn't let go. And it's all like on camera, but I never got the footage. But I have like some pictures with him. But everybody was very chill. Like everybody was so very down to earth. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What do you think like your most important lesson that you learned from there was?
I would say okay, I don't think this is, like, directly from, like, being in the White House, but, like, from, like, receiving the award, I guess, is just what you're doing matters. I think that, like, I don't know, I've been doing, like, I guess all, like, the different stuff that, like, culminated in this for a really long time, and it's never, I don't want to say it's never felt like much. It's always felt like it's been important to me, but I never was like, oh, I'm going to go to the White House. Like, I never really thought it was going to be recognized on, like, any sort of, I guess, like, significant scale. It was just kind of, like, just doing it because I felt like it was important to, like, me and, like, the community, I guess. So I guess just, like, even if you're not going to be recognized, even if you don't think that's going to happen, like, it might. So I guess just, like, realizing that, like, I don't know, what you're doing matters. Stick to like what you're actually passionate about, and like of course if it's like beneficial to like other people, then that's great. But I guess just like, I don't know, stick to it.
Yeah. What do you think made you stand out, and like how do you think you were chosen to get that award?
Yeah, okay. I remember the name of the woman we had lunch with. Her name was Jennifer Klein. She's like amazing. And she was talking about how she selected us. And basically, because all of the 10 girls that were there, we all had done very different things. Like, I know I said there was the girl who like came up with a new breast cancer test, like, or just amazing. And then there's other girls doing stuff with like gun violence and like different things like that. We were all doing very different things. And so we were asking her, we're like, oh, how did you guys choose us? And they basically wanted just like diverse, I don't know, group that just kind of represented all of these different sectors in like, I don't know, all these different fields basically. So we've got people doing science, we've got doing people doing like advocacy for gun violence, for all these different things. And for me, I don't there wasn't like really one thing necessarily that like was like, oh, that got me to the White House. It was just the collection of everything. And like the main centerpiece of that was just my stuff was really focused on empowering girls of color. And that's just my whole thing. And I think that's different from the other stuff that they saw. And I think that's what I feel like everybody there stood out in their own way because we were all doing this like such different things. Um, but yeah, mine wasn't like one specific thing. I think it was just like they're trying to get like a broad, just diverse group of things. And I kind of checked that box of like, I don't know, uplifting voices was kind of my thing.
Yeah, so what was like the work you specifically did in Cinnamon Girls that led up to you even being nominated to
Yeah.
for the award?
Um, so there's different like cohorts within Cinnamon Girl. So there's like Entrepreneur Girl where you learn about entrepreneurship and like how to present business ideas and pitches. I did that my first year. Um, and then from there on out, I still am a part of, it's called Write Your Story, and that's like where you like become literally published author, which is like really cool. Um, and so I did a lot of that, and then I started working for Cinnamon Girl. So I currently lead, and I have led for a couple years. It's called their Passport Book Club, and so basically, um, it's the thing that's like distinct about this cohort is it's led by Cinnamon Girl leads, so me and like somebody else, instead of having like an adult leading it. So I think that's like what's special about it, and basically it's a book club where we meet and it's all girls of color, and we pick books that are the main character is a girl of color, and it's written by a woman of color author as well, and then we just discuss those books, and it's just really fun. So I've been doing that for a while, and so I guess I've just kind of been like active in all of these like different cohorts. There's some that I haven't even tried, but I don't know. I think I've been like just consistent within Cinnamon Girl, and I think I've really stuck and leaned more towards like the writing type of stuff. I mean, I'm not a STEM person, so kind of everything I do kind of like, I don't know, is geared more towards like the humanities. Mm-hmm. And so I think I just like, I don't know, that's something that's emphasized a lot in like the stuff I've done with Cinnamon Girl and without. Just like all like the writing, reading stuff, all those cohorts I was a part of. And I guess yeah, Lena like saw my involvement, my consistent involvement, and then I know she like was aware of some of the stuff that I was doing outside of Cinnamon Girl too, and I think that's why she nominated me.
Yeah, what are some of the other things you do outside of Cinnamon Girl?
Yeah, so one of them, I know I mentioned my after school program. It's called Empower Her Poets. And so we meet every week. I just had it yesterday. We meet on Thursdays. And it's a group, it's like inspired by Cinnamon Girl. Or like, I think what I picked up from Cinnamon Girl is there's such a strong message of mentorship and like how important that is. And there's this like sisterhood that's created. We like call each other like the Cinnamon Girl sisters and like all of that. So like there's, I don't know, that very genuine connection. And I feel like I've been very fortunate to have been mentored by like some amazing women. And so I kind of wanted to pay it forward. And so my program that I started is I go and I teach. I have a group of girls of color meet every week, and we learn how to use our words, basically. So we do songwriting, we do poetry mostly. I think what I've learned is just like storytelling is really at the center of everything. I think just like as humans, if we look back in history, like it's always been that way. And I think especially as girls of color, it's so important to learn how to like use your voice in a way that like is most beneficial to you in a way that like helps you convey your story accurately, because there's so much like I don't know, it's just harder for us, I think. And so I think starting it young, so these are elementary school girls and fourth and fifth graders, and yeah, so just things like that. Like I said, like all my like extracurricular stuff kind of has centered around like words and all of that. So I have that. I have my music stuff that I do. Um, I don't know. I do a lot of songwriting and poetry. I just finished my term as the Vice Youth Poet Laureate of Berkeley, which was really fun. And I got to like partner with like the city of Berkeley and like partner with the Berkeley libraries specifically to like lead workshops for teens and teach them poetry and just like I don't know perform at all these different events, which is really fun. And then like songwriting wise, for the past couple years, I've done like the Grammy like songwriting sessions in the summer, which is really fun. Um, that's my favorite like type of writing is just like songwriting. And then I every so often I organize and promote and like it's a whole thing for me like local music shows, and I get just a band together, I get other acts together, I figure out how to book a venue, and so like all of that. So that's more for fun, but I guess that's also like extracurricular stuff.
Wow, that's really cool. It seems like you're doing so much, but what I like is that everything is so like succinct and like cohesive, if that makes
Thank
sense.
you.
So like I'm curious, how did you decide to pursue all these and how do your personal values and passions play into the work you do?
Honestly, I feel like I never even really decided it just started happening. Yeah, I think my main passion has always been like music and like I sing and like I just love to write songs. And that's not something that I plan on like pursuing professionally. It's just for fun. And I think that's kind of what branched me off into like poetry and like writing and all these different things. And then all of the work I've done that's like specifically surrounding like the empowerment of girls of color. I think that's just something that kind of came naturally because it's like I don't know, like I am one, so it's just like it feels like naturally ingrained. And whenever I saw an opportunity to kind of like step to be mentored and then like step into the shoes of being a mentor, I just kind of like took it. So I think that's what it was. I've also done a lot of like climate work, and that I would say started in like elementary school. That started in third grade. My teacher was like, she has a day named after her in I don't know if it's Berkeley or California, but she's like doing some big stuff. I've since then I've also I forgot to mention that, but I've been like really active in climate work and like just a part of the US Youth Advisory Council for the United Nations Oceans Decade. And so basically like that was all about hill days and like policy advocacy and talking to senators and lobbying for certain bills. So I think like all of the like advocacy work I want to do or that I like pursue kind of that seed started with climate activism in third grade and it's just like continued going. So I've just been drawn to the things that have kind of felt like they've always been there for me, if that makes sense. But yeah, and like all the music stuff, my dad's a musician, like that's his job. My brother's a musician. I kind of like follow in the footsteps of my brother a lot. Like he started doing the climate activism stuff 2 years before me, and I just kind of like followed in it. So yeah.
It seems like you have a lot of like mentors and like people you can look up to. So what do you think being both a mentor and having how do you say it? Mentors that you look up to, what do you think is like the biggest takeaway from being on both sides of it?
Yeah. Honestly, just like how important it is. I don't think I would be anywhere if it wasn't for like, I would say my number one mentor is my mom. My mom is like, she's a psychologist. She's really good at what she does, and she's worked really hard to get where she is. And I just look up to her a lot. And I just think that like what I've realized is just like how important having that support system is. I literally like she just always like encourages me to do whatever it is that I want to do. And I feel like if I did not have that voice, whether it's my mom or if it's like some other mentoring figure, like I don't know, I think it's hard to kind of like self inspire a lot of the times, especially when you're younger. So I think yeah, I think just it's been so pivotal in like my success, I guess. And I've realized that. And so I think that's what I've learned from both sides, because I also know that like it's like really like heartwarming when I show up to like my program and like the girls are like excited, and it's just like one day a week, and I'm like that means a lot, and like I can see like the impact that it's having, which is like really, I don't know, it just makes me happy basically and makes me feel like, oh, like this is like doing something.
Yeah, it's good that you're able to like find meaning not only to yourself but to the people around you. And I like how you're able to like how you start to empower her, and how you're like drilling these foundational skills from a young age of like the power of like connection and like having a support system and having like people that you can look up to and genuinely like rely on and like lean on whenever you need it. And for me, that's why I started this podcast. Just cuz like I wanted to like create a space where everyone could feel like heard and valued and appreciated. And I wanted to like specifically hone in on growing up, cuz and growing up especially with like different extracurriculars and just like with school, with sports, um going to the White House, you know, things like that. So I think for me, I'm a very like expressive person, and I like need to be able to like express myself and to have certain situations addressed and to talk about it with other people, because I don't want to bottle it up and like just keep to myself, you know? And I think before, when I was younger, and especially like in elementary and middle school, I think there are a lot of times for me where I felt like my opinions and like my personal values weren't necessarily like feeling heard, I guess. And that's why I pretty much wanted to create this, to have a space for everyone, even like if you aren't as expressive as other people, you have like a space where you can rely on, and like a space where you know other people are going through the same things that you're going through. So
I love that. No, yeah, I know you texted me like why you wanted to start this, or like what the mission of this podcast is, and I was like, that's amazing. And it's so generalizable in like the best way possible, because like exactly, so many people can relate to that. Everybody grows up, and it's just like having the platform to talk about it, and you feeling like your voice like wasn't always heard, so creating that own place for yourself, that's so amazing.
thank you. And then specifically for the matcha analogy, okay, I know this is like really random, but I love matcha, and I know I talked about this in my previous episodes, but I think the matcha analogy was a unique way to tie all my personal values into one. And I just saw that, like, for example, like when you're making matcha, it's kind of like this process where you have to be very like patient. And I feel like the bumps and the clumps that you hit along the way, the bittersweetness is inevitable. It's like the final product. So that's like what I thought about a lot while trying to, I guess, like start executing the podcast and overall tying my episode ideas into like the process of matcha. So for example, like for this one, it's called like the art of balance, and then like just like balancing your extracurriculars with the college application process. So pretty much just like tying all my personal values into matcha, and then from there using it to create like a platform for everybody.
I like it. Poetic.
Oh, from a poet herself. So, what do you think is your favorite poetry piece that you've written?
Ooh, that I've written. I honestly don't have any. I don't even know. I think of like poetry and like songwriting as synonymous, because it's like, to me at least, they're the same thing. And so what I'll do is like I'll turn like songs into poems and vice versa, and that's like really fun for me. Like I really enjoy that. But I don't know if there's a favorite one that I have, because I think the best thing for me, like the best feeling, is like when I'm writing something and I'm like, oh my god, that's the best thing I've ever written. And then the next thing I write, I'm like, wait, that's the best thing I've ever written. So I think like always trying to build on it. I have a collection of poems that I've been working on that I'm like pretty excited about, because I'm working right now with like a writing coach who's been very helpful and like giving feedback and all of that. But I don't know if there's one specific piece. I always have just like a never-ending notes document going, where like if I'm driving, if I'm walking, like literally whenever I think of something, like I get like random like spurts of like lines in my head, and I just write them down, and then I see what I can turn them into. But I don't know if I have a favorite, but I would say I like all of them, but sometimes I write things and I go back and I'm like, I don't like that, but it's fine.
No, yeah, for me, oh my gosh, the random ideas, that's so real. Because
Yeah.
I feel like for me, I try to not tell people because I don't know, I kind of feel like it's embarrassing and like people are going to say something. But I really like see a lot of power in journaling. And
Yeah.
just like my notes app, oh my gosh, it's like a collection of like every single thing that's just gone through my head. So whether it's like writing it on paper or just like
Yeah.
typing it on your phone, I feel like I just, anytime I think of something like you said, I just write it down. And I don't want to like make it seem like it's cringe. I don't know why. I just have this feeling that people just think it's cringe because like
No.
a lot of people are like into STEM and like they're not really into like writing and things
Yeah.
like that. But for me, I think a key thing is that I'm very like introspective, I guess. So just pouring my thoughts and my ideas out onto paper, which is why I like
Yeah.
writing because I feel like I always tell people that the reason why English and like writing and history is my favorite is because for me like anytime I'm writing, it just feels like I'm pouring my thoughts out onto paper
Yeah.
in a succinct way, like a more like structured and organized way of what my brain looks like and like my inner thoughts. So do you relate to that in
I
any way?
definitely do. I think even it doesn't matter what I'm writing. I feel like maybe we have the same process because I like even if I'm writing like well I don't know if you meant like literally just writing everything out, dumping everything out, but for me that's even how I write like my like academic essays.
Me too. Oh my
I
gosh.
literally like a final that I just had was an essay, and I did it all the night before. I should not have done that, but it's fine. And I what I do is I like sit down and I just like write everything down, and I just like try and get everything on paper, and then I go back and edit it. So I definitely relate to that. I don't think you should feel like it's cringe at all, like journaling. I think it's great. Like I think it's genuinely like therapeutic. I just finished psychology class and like we were talking about so much. We had like fake case studies with like fake clients that we created, and then we had to come up with a treatment plan, and almost everybody used journaling in their treatment plan, which is really interesting. Um, but yeah, I just always, no, I love that. I always am just writing random stuff down, and it's like sometimes it's just like blunt thoughts and like feelings and like whatever, and sometimes it's like more like poetic stuff, but I don't know. I think it's always good to write it down because like why not? Like you never know if you might use it later,
Yeah.
or you just like look back and it's like, oh, that's what I was thinking at that time. It's like really interesting.
Yeah, and I feel like even if it's like vague and blunt, you're the fact that you're able to expand off of that and like build off of it is really meaningful. And I think for me, like what I do when I'm writing my essays, it's kind of like you. And oh my gosh, I remember I was writing my 8th grade graduation speech because I spoke for the baccalaureate mass at my middle school, and I remember I was kind of on this like writer's block.
Yeah.
And I was so stressed out because I was in Reno for my sister's volleyball tournament because both me and my sister play volleyball. And 2 weeks of April, it's like back to back for the different
Oh,
age
geez.
groups. So every 2 weeks or 2 weeks in April, I'll go to Reno. And I was in the hotel while my sister was playing, and my mom was there helping me because I had to write. I think I started my speech like a month before, and I just remember I was just like crying because it was so hard because
Yeah.
was like so overwhelmed that my paper was just a bunch of like random thoughts.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't know that was my process, you know? But then I realized like the fact that I'm able to type down everything and everything that comes in my mind, I just write it down. And then from there, you're able to like structure, you're able to like expand off of that. But I feel like that's better than having a blank document, you know?
Yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
is. I think it's like I think that's the way to beat writer's block
Mhm.
every time.
Mhm.
Cuz like you're going to
Yeah.
find something in there. I had my the songwriting teacher that like does like all the Grammy camps and stuff, like she's so amazing. And she would always say, I forget exactly what it is, but it was like some analogy of comparing writer's block and like you to a sponge. And she's like, writer's block does literally not exist. Like we're all sponges, and if the sponge is dry, I'm gonna butcher this.
It's okay.
It's like if the sponge is dry, that's like writer's block. Like literally, like put water on yourself. This is definitely not how she said it. But anyways, but it's like literally if you have writer's block, you're just not consuming enough. You're not consuming enough music, enough movies, enough being outside with your friends, or just like anything. And so I think like now that I think of that, I'm like writer's block is not real. I've always like adopted that since she said that. And I think like what we do, just like writing everything out, is just like proof that writer's block is not real. Like you can write literally anything and then pull things from it, or like just writing stuff down like always helps me think of more stuff to write. So I'm like, it's a good process in my opinion.
Yeah.
Might be biased.
It's okay. Part that you said about a sponge. I'm trying to think of like, okay, I get what you're trying to say, and I think it's like the part about the sponge being dry and just like having to suck in more information and things like that. I like how you talked about how it could be simple things like going outside, watching movies, listening to music. Because like you said, it's really hard to self-inspire yourself.
Yeah.
So by looking at other external resources and like allowing your brain to like soak in the ideas of others and listening to like the diverse and new insights, I guess that's definitely critical to the overall writing process and the introspective process.
Yeah. So I think it's just like the idea of like you're not living enough. And that doesn't mean one certain thing, but it's like you're not like you're just stuck. So like go take on some new perspectives through listening to what other people have to say through music or through movies or through, I don't know, just talking with your friends or just getting out of your house. So now I always like use that because I'm like, okay, that's helpful.
Yeah, for me, I like listening to other people's podcasts. Like I listened last night when I was going to sleep. I listened to Emma Chamberlain's podcast. I think it's called Anything Goes with Emma Chamberlain. So she talks about just like the most random topics that she just thinks of in her head. Like one of them was like why I am the biggest hater, and like how for that episode I watched that last night. And she was talking about how like she may like on the front she may seem like the sweetest person ever, but really she's like the biggest hater on the inside. And that's like I feel like that's a hot take. But I like the fact she was able to address that. Because I think a lot of people aren't able to, like, hold themselves accountable for, like, I guess, like, being a hater, being, like, a criticizer and things like that. So just, like, overall gaining new perspectives from people, I think that's, like, the overall point of a podcast. Yeah. Is just, like, hear what other people have to say and listening to other people's life experiences. And for me, that's, like, what I find solace in. That's, like, my escape from reality, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, how do you think you balance all of your passions and being able to spend time with your friends with school?
Yeah, that is always a tough one. I think it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. I genuinely think like the number one or my number one take on that is just like prioritization of things. I think there's definitely times when it's just like it just feels like there's too much and there's not enough time in a day. Because it's like at some point you're going to have to give something up. It could be sleep or it could be doing your homework. So I've definitely gotten in those spaces where it's like, okay, there's something has to give. And so sometimes it has been my sleep or it has been doing my homework. Yeah, I just try to find what works best for me and what is sustainable for me. I think I always kind of go back to like the like idea of like what's most important. And so I kind of like, if I have all of these different tasks, I'm like, okay, genuinely what is the most important thing for me to get done? I'm going to do that first, and then if I don't get to the other stuff, that's okay, but I need to get that done. I will sometimes just be like, okay, I have homework, but I also have a headache and I'm really exhausted. Like, what's more beneficial, like my health and going to sleep, or this assignment that I could do tomorrow? Like, it might be late, but it's fine. Like, and then so I'll choose what to do. So yeah, I definitely don't recommend having a bunch of late assignments, but it happens. I think it can feel like kind of impossible to fit everything into a day or everything into a week. And I think that like it always, to me, has seemed like something's gonna fall to the background if I'm like trying to balance everything. But what I've realized recently is that's not true. Like, you really can do everything you want as long as it's sustainable. And so I have all my stuff, but like I'm conscientious to like not take on too many other different things. Like, I'm able to do all my extracurriculars and do all of my schoolwork and hang out with my friends because I'm not like putting other pressures on myself as well. I know that like that's a lot, but I know if I was to add like a sport on top of that, I wouldn't be sleeping. For me, it's just like what's most important to me. and how can I just like smash everything into one day while also still putting myself first. And no matter what, I do kind of always put myself first. If I need to sleep, I'm going to sleep. Like if I am not feeling well, then I will stay home or like do whatever I need to do. So I honestly think that's the key to it. But I think there's a lot, I feel like I hear a lot like I'm too busy, like people saying that like I'm too busy, or like people being like, oh, I'm too busy for like a relationship, or I'm too busy for whatever, I don't know, all these different things. And I kind of think that's like BS. Like I don't really think that's true. Like I think you definitely can feel overwhelmed, but I think it's all about like what you prioritize. That was a really long-winded, and I'm not sure if that made sense.
No, that makes total sense.
But yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm okay. I'm sorry. I'm a victim of saying like I'm too busy for certain things. But I think
too.
yeah, like oh my god, I say it so much like I'm too busy for relationships. I'm too busy to like go out and do stuff for myself, things like that. But what I realized is that if you really want to do it, you'll make time for it.
Exactly.
So it's like you're not gonna go to school every day. You're not gonna play your sport every day. You're not gonna do your homework if you didn't, like it, or if you didn't think about the consequences if you didn't do it,
Yeah.
So I feel like just thinking about from my perspective and your perspective how we balance everything is just like taking care of yourself and making time for things that you want to make time for, and not piling yourself with too many unnecessary extracurriculars.
Yeah.
Like, and I think like especially going into like the college application process,
yeah.
a lot. I guess I'm like 3 years away from that, but I guess it's good to think about.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, well, from what I've seen and just from like what TikTok and like social media advertising it and like their list of extracurriculars and things like that, something that I noticed is that a lot of people don't do what they're passionate about throughout their whole resume, I guess. So there's a lot of like sporadic activities,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So I feel like for me, just trying to balance a sport with, I guess, other extracurriculars, I'm just trying to like find that middle ground to where I can like still have time for myself. And I always talk about this, having that middle ground, having that balance. But I'm still trying to figure out how I can balance everything and at the same time figure out what I want to do, figure out my purpose, things like that. So
It sounds impossible.
Mhm.
Yeah. But it's not. But I mean, like, I don't even know. Like, I'm still figuring it out.
yeah.
But I think the other thing that I love what you said about just like always still like not having things just be like sporadic, like different
Mhm.
things you're taking on, but like things you're actually passionate about. I think it's so easy to get overwhelmed. And I do think like actually saying like, oh, I'm too busy for things, I don't think that's a bad thing, because sometimes that's just true. Like sometimes it's just like too overwhelming to like, do certain things. Actually, I'm gonna completely contradict everything I said before.
It's okay.
I think that sometimes you do have to like let certain things go, and it will be okay. If you really want to, you could fit everything, but it's like sometimes it is just more beneficial to let certain things go. And so for me, like, I like to play, like, I like to think of the future. And that's like, okay, I think of myself and I think of the future. And I'm like, okay, is this really going to impact my future if I prioritize this over this? And that will, like, kind of help me determine. Like, it's like for finals. Like, I know it's, like, that's, like, a bigger deal than, like, a homework assignment, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just, like, that sort of thing. And then, I mean, like, the college application process, that was so overwhelming. And I think that I kind of, like, fell into, like, the trap of, like, just putting everything in my life on hold. And although I do think to a certain extent you kind of need to do that when you're going through certain periods of things, that whole process also made me realize that there's always going to be something. There's no good reason to hold off on something and being like, it's too much right now, I will do it later, and just, like, putting it off. And that's one thing I've learned from like, my high school experience, is it's one thing after another. Honestly, there might be periods where it's like less, the workload is less in whatever area it is, but there's like thing after thing. So like don't put what you want to do on hold, and like assume the mindset that you're gonna do it later when you catch a break, because honestly you're not gonna catch a break, which is okay because you can create those breaks for yourself. That was definitely very contradicting from what I said earlier. I do think it is important to like do what's most beneficial from you, even if that means sometimes stepping away from certain things. A lot of pressure can be alleviated from like letting go of things that don't like
serve you.
Or don't like that aren't like enriching your life. I'm just like ranting right now. So
No,
I'm gonna,
no, that's the
I'm
point.
gonna-
No,
yeah.
you're totally good. Oh my
But,
gosh, I
yeah.
love it. For me, I think it's not only with the extracurriculars. Like, I think doing your extracurriculars gives you a lot of lessons, and I think those translate to just like overall life experiences. And it's just like embracing the hardships that you face throughout the process, because without those hardships you wouldn't be you.
Exactly.
Without the bumps and the clumps, you wouldn't like matcha.
Yes.
Matcha wouldn't be
Yes.
matcha without the bumps and clumps. Just like tie that in. I guess that's kind of random, but it's okay. I think it's also like not even like letting go of extracurriculars that don't serve you. It's just like learning how to not care about experiences that won't affect you in the long run. For me, like something I like to think about, a lot of people have this like concept of like popularity in school and just like being well known throughout the school. But I feel like honestly, popularity, it's something that isn't gonna serve you in the long run, if that makes sense.
No, yeah.
Like nobody's gonna be thinking about that high school relationship 10 years from now. You're gonna be thinking about yourself. It's very like individualized. So I guess for me, transitioning into high school and going from middle school and I came from a really small middle school. So like I knew everybody in my middle school, and nobody was really like popular or like well known because it was like a class of 30.
Yeah.
And then coming into the school we're at right now, it's still like, I guess, kind of small compared to other schools, but it's definitely bigger to the point where I had to learn that it's okay to live under a rock. Like, okay, there's like a lot of like high school drama, I guess, not at my school specifically, but just in general. Like if somebody told me like, oh, like this person and this person is dating or now dating, I'm like, what? Like I didn't know that. And they're like, oh, like do you live under a rock? And I was like, yeah, I guess I do, but it's because I'm doing the things that I think are important. Like I choose to not be so consumed by the drama, and I guess like live in my own world, which I guess some people may think is a bad thing. I don't know, like I feel like I've heard people say like, oh, like she's like always in her own world, always doing like her own thing, but I feel like that's okay. And I feel like that's something a lot of people don't realize, and it's kind of like not normalized because everybody is so dependent on other people, I guess. And it's good to depend on other people in terms of like having a support system, but in terms of like living off the drama, living off, I guess, things that won't benefit you in the long run, that's something I guess learned to come to terms with as I went through high school. So
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. I was actually literally just talking to my mom about that. We were on a walk like 2 days ago, and I think what you said is it's all short lived. Like all the drama, the drama, like everybody forgets is happening in like a couple days, a week, or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I think the idea of like popularity, and I don't know, I just think it's kind of like, I don't know what the word is, like unnecessary or just unimportant. Like it doesn't really matter so much. And so I completely agree with you with what you said, and just like making time for what's important to you. That's honestly all that matters in my book, because I think like, I don't know, but I think that's something that I'm like just finally really like realizing now. So that's like great that you're already thinking that. I think I just finally I truly don't care what like my peers think of me, or like okay, not completely, but it's just like I'm choose to like actually not like be impacted or be like consumed by thinking about what other people are thinking of me. I think it goes back to like, I feel like you kind of said this a little bit, but like the idea a little bit of like quality over quantity. Like if you have your support system, like I have my best friends, like I have my friends and all of that, but it's like I have that, and so like I'm not really worried about like anything else. Like if I'm good, then I'm good, like.
Yeah. Were you okay when starting all of your extracurriculars and like going to the White House, being a singer, songwriter, and like having your shows? Were you ever scared that people would think that you were like overly ambitious or like doing too much? Because that's something I think. Like when starting my podcast, I didn't even like want to tell people because I was scared that like people would like judge me and say I'm like overly ambitious and just like doing too much.
I understand that. I don't think I really felt like that, and I think a lot of that is because I've kind of just like I never really told anybody about the stuff I was doing. Like my friends like knew some of it, but it's kind of like things that I was just doing for myself mostly.
Yeah.
So like people didn't even realize. And then I went to the White House, and everybody was like, wait,
What?
Like,
Did I miss a chapter? Did I miss something?
No, they're like, wait, what did you go for? And then like they started to like realize more about like the things I was doing. So I didn't really worry about like, I don't know, seeming too overly ambitious, because honestly that's a great thing to be, in my opinion. Like having ambitions, like otherwise like what are you living for? Like you have to have like some drive. But I think what I've learned from like all of this and like doing all this different stuff in terms of like people's opinions and all of that, lesson I gained is that I literally have autonomy over myself. And I know that sounds so like, that's like so obviously, like of course you have autonomy over yourself, but it's like even the small things, like people are so nosy. Like people asking, I have like people will ask me like, oh, like what's your GPA, like what's blah blah blah, like whatever. And like there's questions that's like, okay, like I'm fine with answering, but then other stuff like it's not a big deal. Like GPA, that's not a big deal, but I choose not to answer that question because I'm like, wait, I literally don't have to tell people anything, because it's those little things that I'm like, that I think might make me start thinking about what other people are thinking of me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't care for that. So like what I realized is I literally don't have to do anything I don't want to, and that includes like answering questions and like the things I choose to keep personal to myself.
Well, okay, for me, it's kind of hard because, so when I released the podcast, like I said, I probably only told like 5 people, but then I just like released it onto YouTube, released it like the Instagram Reels and stuff, and everyone was like shocked, I guess. Not shocked, how do I say it? They were just like, oh, like, why are you doing this? Like, is it for school? Like, what is like your reason? I was like, oh, it's just like for me, you know? So it's not something I like necessarily, like you said, like not something I told people, like, oh, like I'm gonna start a podcast. It's just something I released.
Yeah.
And I just prayed that people would like it. And I was honest, I was so worried because I thought people wouldn't find value. And when I was talking about like the overall concept of like growing up and having a space where you like feel like heard and like supported, I guess. So that was something that like constantly went through my head. Like while I was editing, I was like, oh my gosh, like what if all the work I'm doing right now isn't gonna pay off? And what if people just don't like it? What if they like say bad things, you know? But then I released it and I actually got like a lot of, not support, but a lot of people were like thanking me. I guess like there were like a couple people in my DMs like thanking me for doing this and that they think it's really beneficial. And I think for me that was like my moment where everything just felt like so surreal. It just felt like all my hard work paid off and that people are like genuinely finding value in this, even though it's like just the start, you know?
No, absolutely. So. And I think that's, it's always nice to kind of have like some external like, affirmation that like what you're doing is like making an impact. But I think, because obviously like you want to get that from yourself, but it's like we all need like a little push. But even just one person saying that, it's like you're helping one person, that's great. Like that's amazing. And I think, okay, this is obviously so much easier said than done, but I think the biggest thing is just like not worrying about anybody's judgment. Like it's just so like do what you want to do. I think I am now finally like it goes back to like the not really caring what people like. I feel like I'm not as much being controlled by like other people's judgment, because it's not even like other people's actual judgment. It's like the thought that there might be judgment, you know?
Yes.
But it's like there's
gosh.
nobody's even saying it. What I realized is nobody cares. Well, okay, well, people care. There's people that care in a good way. But like most people, like if they're taking the energy to actually outwardly judge or just like hate, like there's literally, I don't care. Like I feel like your like opinion is valid if you're doing all that. Like that's so that's just unnecessary. I think it's so easy to get kind of wrapped up in your head about like the possibility that people might be like saying negative things about you. Honestly, that's probably not happening. And if it is, the fact that like somebody's like actually taking the time to do that is ridiculous to me. So I'm like, I actually don't care what you think, because like that's how you're spending your time. Like I just think that's like, I don't know, it's so unnecessary.
Oh my god, I was literally just talking about that with somebody. I think I was talking about how like the fact that they're spending their time on other people and just like talking about other people is just so unnecessary, because it's like
they're bored.
Yeah.
Go do something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why don't you go put that time that you're taking to talk about other people into yourself, you know? And I think if you have that turn, that person's going to be benefited a lot. They're no longer talking about other people. They're no longer talking about other people that are not going to affect them in the future. And instead, they're using that time to like truly focus on themselves. And I think I feel like I'm a bit of a hypocrite on saying this because I feel like everybody has their flaws and everybody can like say things about other people because that's inevitable. I feel like everybody does that, you know. So it's not like I'm a complete like angel who like does nothing because obviously I do stuff, but it's like I've just tried to learn to not talk about other people, I guess, and just instead like focus on myself because at the end of the day, my parents always tell me this. They always say people come and go, but the people who stick with you at the end are your family and just like maybe like one or two close friends. Because then like
My mom says that.
yeah, the idea of having these like situational friendships and the idea of people coming and go and just not caring about what other people say because it's not going to affect you in the future. It's not gonna. They're not gonna pay for your college. They're not gonna get you a job. You know, things like that. So I mean, unless like that person is like really impactful and can help you get a job,
But probably not.
probably
Because
not.
they're not making good use of their time. No,
Yeah,
it's just like,
yeah.
honestly, it's just like they're bored.
Mm-hmm.
They're bored. They don't have a lot going on. Like,
I agree.
or it's like, it's also just exhausting to, I feel like it must be exhausting to do, but also just to be around. Like, I just like, surround yourself with like
Good
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I'm like, so I literally, when I'm around people that are like, I always just want to then be around the people that like I want to be around, which are like my friends.
Yeah, it's back to the idea of like quality over quantity. And it's just like, especially being in high school, I feel like high school is such a pivotal and like drastic time. Because, like I said, going back to the idea of like people being consumed in drama and stuff. And just like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just like surround yourself with people who will benefit you. Don't go in a crowd where you're not going to be benefited. Don't be influenced by other people. And I feel like it seems weird that I'm saying this just as a freshman, but that's just something I've learned throughout like the 6 months I've been in school. And I think something I also realized, or something that I kind of like thought about a lot in the beginning of the year, because our school is very like individualized and like very independent, and like sometimes you don't even see your friends and on certain days, like on long block days. Sometimes I don't even see my friends, but it's just because I also have to learn that I need to do things for myself,
Yeah.
you know, and not, like I said, like rely on other people. So I guess it's okay to be alone. Like I used to be so scared that people would like think I'm like a loner or something because I'm like in the library alone or like with the teacher in the room alone. But it's just because I'm trying to do things that benefit me, and that by continuing to do this, I'm able to find things that are meaningful to me. So
I love being alone sometimes. Because sometimes I just need a break. You just need a break from
yeah,
people and just to think and
the thing you said about like liking being alone and like being extroverted. You said like you're pretty extroverted,
Yeah.
right? For me, I'm also really, really extroverted, and it was so weird coming into high school and not being surrounded by the same, I guess, like 30 kids every day, because I grew up with the same 30 kids from kindergarten to 8th grade, and I was like always used to being around people who I genuinely like enjoyed spending my time with. And then I got into high school, and it was just kind of like a turning point for me, because it was like it's okay to be alone. Like it's okay to give yourself breaks and to give yourself a break from like other people and like all the drama. It's okay to live under a rock.
yeah.
Like okay, living under a rock, not necessarily in terms of like being sheltered, but in terms of like not knowing all the drama and things like that. Because if it's not gonna affect you, then just don't bother, you know. So yeah, and I guess like going away from this, how was the college application process for you? That's a pretty big one.
Yeah. I'm just glad I'm done. It was a lot. It was just like I applied to 17 schools, but a lot of them I applied to a lot of UCs and CSUs. So those are like one application for all of them, which is like really helpful. But then the rest of my schools were all Common App schools, which is like you have to write essays for each of them, and it was like one school is like 8 essays. Like it's like I don't know, not a fun time. So that was really just a period of just locking in and getting it done and figuring out how to like balance like school and everything. I think that was a time when I had to do a lot of thinking of like, okay, like is this homework assignment really like something I need to focus on right now when like I have an essay due to more. I don't know. It's just making like little sacrifices. I feel like I did a lot. I probably could have structured my time better, and I wouldn't have to do that. Or it's like on Halloween. Halloween was on a weeknight, so it doesn't really matter. But like I was sitting at home, I was like glued to the couch writing all night on Halloween. Didn't go outside once, because I had an essay due. So yeah, it was just definitely like a little bit of like a more isolated time because it kind of felt like it had to be a little bit. But yeah, it was just like I'm so glad that's over because I had to do. I also took the ACT. I didn't take the SAT. But I had to like also do a bunch of like prep for that test and everything, and then like the actual test. And then at that time, like I was balancing like of course like school and extracurriculars, and a relationship in the beginning of the year, which ended before I took the ACT because I think that's like an example of like one of the things that like needed to let go so I could like really focus. So I think like that was a time of like I'm just like I was locked in. I was locked in and it's done. And now I just wait to hear back, so I'm excited.
Or have you ever been worried that you're not giving yourself enough time and not spending your teenage years being a teenager because you're doing so many other things outside of school?
I feel like I've done a pretty good job of like balancing everything. I can't think of like a single like teenage experience that I want, or like stereotypical teenage experience that I want that I haven't had, which I'm grateful for. I think like honestly like I think you should make time to like do what you want to do and like do what you want to do socially and then also do your other stuff. Like I don't know, I think all like the schoolwork and all like the extracurriculars are really important, but like you also just have to live life. Like
Yeah.
it's not, I think it's the same idea of like pushing things away to be like, oh, I can do it later when I have like a break. I think it goes for even like the more like broad stuff. It's like you can't push away like living life just because you have things to do. There's always going to be things to do. And I feel like if there's a time to like experiment, like have fun, I feel like that's now. And I think at the point where I'm at, it's not that like I won't go to parties and like I'm at the point where it's like I would literally rather be in bed at 8 p.m. than be at a party. Like
I agree.
I don't know. And but I mean, but then it's also balanced because then sometimes it's like okay, then I will go out. It's like little choices like that where it's like I would rather be with like hanging out with my best friends than go to like this big party where like it's people like I don't even really like want to talk to. But then it's like I think I feel that way now because I did like do kind of not whatever I wanted, but like because I did just like I feel like you have to try everything to know. I don't feel like I missed out on anything. I think now I'm at the point where I'm just like I just choose what I want to do with my time. And I like that.
I think I came to the conclusion that I'm not really like a big function type of person. Like I've always thrived in like smaller school settings. I've always been able to be myself around just a smaller group of people. And like for me, one time where I just like knew that like I didn't like this was like homecoming. Okay, homecoming is really fun and like getting ready. No matter how social I am, I don't like it, and like I don't know why. And like people were like saying I was so like closed off during homecoming, but I was just like, guys, like this is so overstimulating. Like I'm so social, and like I never knew that there's that side to me. But I guess there's a first everything. So yeah.
I don't like homecoming. I've never liked homecoming. I went this year because I was like, okay, senior year.
Yeah.
And I went freshman year. I went junior year. Did I go junior? I don't know if I did go junior year. I didn't go sophomore year. But like, I don't like homecoming. But prom is so fun.
Really?
Yeah. Prom is so fun.
I don't know. I just feel like it kind of reminds me of like, not even reminds me, but it's just like there's too many people, and it's just like I get like overstimulated. But then I was like confused as to why I was getting overstimulated because I'm like so like social and I'm able to talk to people and stuff. But just like when you're in environments like that, like really like loud environments and things like that, I don't know why I just like didn't really favor it.
There's just something about homecoming I've just never liked. But it's like, yeah, I'll pick and choose. Like sometimes I'll be like, I am in the mood to go be around a lot of people right now, and then sometimes no. So, Yeah, but I've never liked homecoming.
Really? Yeah, I just think like
But
that.
prom is so
Yeah.
much fun.
Really? Is it like? Didn't you guys go on a boat?
We got on a boat, and now it's in the zoo, I guess. But I just bought my dress today.
Oh my gosh! What color is it? Like, what is it? What is it like?
It's black. Which is like, I don't know. I don't know if that's giving like prom, but I love it, and I feel like you can never go wrong with black. So
Yeah, of course.
I'm excited.
Like, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but would you say you have any tips for like your younger self, or for any other students who are like feeling overwhelmed by overall high school and like the college application process and just balancing everything?
I don't know if this is like really great advice, but like just it gets better. Like I feel like I feel like this is not just specific to me. Like I feel like other people I've talked to and like even my brother, like each year it gets more fun. Seriously. Each year there's like in high school specifically, like you feel a lot like each year there's more freedom, there's more like choice, whatever. So it's like just do your best where you're at. Like progressively rewarding, I guess, because then you have more autonomy just over a lot of different things. And so yeah, I would say if I could give advice to my like freshman self, I I feel like I don't have any regrets because I feel like I like honestly like everything was like a learning experience. But I would say to my freshman self, like lock in on your classes more. Like they're only gonna get harder. So
For me, sometimes I wonder like, wow, like, if I barely have any time now, what's it gonna be like 3 years from now when I'm a senior, like or like a junior going through the college application process, and I just get like so overwhelmed by everything because it's just like, how am I gonna continue to do the things I like, continue to have a social life, and just I guess like thrive in a way that's meaningful to me. So
I feel like it naturally pans out a little bit. I don't know how to explain this, but it's just like I truly feel this like not just with school and like going through like the different years of school, but also like as I go up the ladder in like my extracurricular stuff and being in these more like professional settings and like these like legitimate settings is that everything like nothing so far has been like a huge leap. Like I feel like everything is like I think in like school, like they set you up very well to like nothing will feel like too big of a leap and I feel like it seems more daunting when you think about it, but then it's like everything's gonna be fine. Even being in the White House and doing all this stuff and like talking to these people and like going to like galas and like whatever, it's just like it feels normal because everything is like as you continue to like grow, like everything kind of grows with you, it seems. And so like it just seems like those things that like should be scary are like at your level now. And I've been thinking about that because I'm like it's really like that was the White House, but it's like it was chill. It'll be fine.
I think okay. So it's like you're able to go through everything that you're doing because of like everything you've experienced in the in like your previous years. It's kind of like, okay, have you read the poem 11? Okay, I can't, it's by like Sandra something. But okay, this seems off topic, but it's going to come together. Okay. So it's like I analyzed this poem in English class and it's talking about how like being okay, it was talking about this girl's 11th birthday and how when you're 11, you're a culmination of all the years before you. Because you know, like some people are like, oh, like I'm 15 now and I'm a new person, change person. But then this girl took the approach of like, I'm now 11, but I'm still the same as always. Like even though I'm 11 now, I still feel like I'm 10. Like there's no really any difference. I think and I don't know if that like makes sense to what you're trying to say, but it's just like
I think it does.
like as you grow, your experiences grow with you. And every moment you go through is a culmination of everything that you've experienced in the past. So it's like so the girl was talking about how she felt like overwhelmed, I guess, of just like being older and it was kind of like daunting to her. So just like overall going back to the point of like you are your experiences, you are a culmination of 1 through 14 even though you're 15, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that, and it's also just like nothing, in my opinion, is ever as scary as it seems. Like I feel like it kind of goes back to the thing about like I don't know, anticipating that somebody might judge you. Like, I think it's like it's always worse. Like it's not, it's never nothing has really been like a huge step, because I think you're always as like you said, like as you grow, like, experiences grow with you kind of, and it's like all these like other things you're doing that might seem insignificant, whether it's like an assignment in school or like a talent show, all setting you up for the next thing.
Can I ask, like, what are your plans after high school? And, like, do you have any, like, dream colleges, dream majors, things like that?
Yeah.
Or any, like, goals you're working towards?
Yeah. Okay, well, I plan on going to college. I don't know where yet, because I don't hear back until later this month, which I'm excited about. Besides, I've heard from like all my Cal States, which has been good. I don't really have a dream school, because
Really?
I'm kind of just like, yeah, I'm kind of just like, I don't, it's such a gamble, like the college process and like getting in and like the acceptance rates and just like all of that. It's so uncertain,
Yeah.
which is like kind of frustrating. But it's kind of like I don't really have an anxiety about it or anything. I'm just like, whatever happens, happens. Which I feel like is kind of my mentality for like a lot of things, but I think specifically this, because it's just like completely out of my hands. But if I would like to go out of California.
Really?
Probably. I
Aw.
applied to a lot of in-state schools, so we'll see. But like I also applied to some on the East Coast and one in Canada. And
Wow.
my brother is on the East Coast, like that'd be nice to be close with him. Yeah, and then in terms of what I'm studying, I applied everywhere as like a gender studies major, but I don't actually plan on going into gender studies. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. But I'm thinking maybe going into law, maybe politics, so maybe political science major. But honestly, I'll just see. But like for E-week, for like our enrichment week next week, I'm going to Stanford to shadow at the Office of General Counsel, so that should like hopefully give me some insight into like law and just see. But I have no idea what I'm doing. But I honestly think that like you're not supposed to know. Like I feel like college is the time to figure it out. So I think that'll happen.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm like future tripping so much. Like I know I still have like 3 years, but I'm just thinking like, oh, like what if I don't get into like the school I want to go to, or like just like what if things don't work out the
Yeah.
way I want it to? But it's just like I feel like life and just like growing up in general, it's just about embracing the uncertainties and just like knowing that things happen for a reason, even if it's not how you want it to go, even if it's not like how you envisioned it to go. But I think it's all just about like embracing the beauty in the process and like knowing that everything, all of like the bitter and bad moments shape you to be who you are. And I think hopefully when I'm older, looking back, I'll be like, oh, like everything happened for a reason. And like
Yeah.
I
That's
did
how I
that.
feel.
Yeah. And like I did that. And then it went to this. And then, just like hopefully I have that like full circle moment where everything I'm doing now makes sense, even though it doesn't make
I'm
sense
sure.
to me right now, you know?
Yeah.
So,
But it'll be. I just think everything will work out. Like everything, the college stuff is such a gamble
yeah.
too, because like you could have perfect grades and not get in. You could do whatever it is and not get in. So it's just like I don't really think there's a point in like stressing about it, because like I know I genuinely have no control over it. But I also just didn't, even like all my safety schools, I didn't apply anywhere that I really wouldn't go. So it's like it'll be fine.
Yeah, I wish that I will have that mentality, but
Because no matter
hopefully.
what, you can even like even if you don't go where you want to, you can always transfer into
That's
another school.
true.
There's always solutions, is what I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like for me, like watching all these people get like rejected and stuff, it's like so like scary. And like, but I guess like rejection is redirection. Everything is gonna happen for a reason. Everything is gonna pan out the way you want it to pan out. And like you said, like there's always a solution to something. So I think like even if you're in like your hardest times, there's always a brighter side to it.
And I also think, well, I know you're not applying to colleges yet, but I guess this is kind of general too. But don't limit what your potential could be. Like there was a lot, like even teachers at our school that were like before I went to the White House telling me like not to apply to like these like top, like saying it's unrealistic. You literally never know. Like just
Yeah.
do it. And then I went to the White House, and then now they want to say something like, okay.
They told you not to apply?
Well, they're just
What?
like that's like they're like let's be realistic, like whatever. But I think it goes back to like my mom. My mom was always like, why should you not apply? Like why not?
Yeah, like what's
There's
the
always
harm?
a chance. You might as well. Like my brother is 2 years older than me, and he is my only sibling. So like he was the first one to go to college, and he literally like we had no idea where he was gonna go, but my mom like made him apply to like all of these Ivies and like all this because she's just like, why not? Like
Yeah.
just like take a chance. And he got in every single school he applied to. He's the only person I know that's done that. So like I think seeing that too, I'm like even if that doesn't happen, it's like why would I not try? Like there's always a chance. And like he had like his college counselor at school told him not to apply to any of those schools, whatever. I think you gotta tune those people out because it's like you never know. Like
Yeah.
you never know.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good point. I feel like what I'm noticing about you and your brother is that like you guys are like doing things that are truly meaningful to you despite like regardless of the college application process. And then if it works out, then it works out, you know?
Yeah.
So I think I want to have that mentality now, and I want to like I guess like adopt that from you and be less concerned about like getting into college and focusing more on extracurriculars that like having an authentic and like genuine
Yeah.
passion for things and just doing the things that you want to do. And then if the colleges like it, then they like it. If they don't,
Exactly.
then they don't. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
You'll see. You'll see in
We'll
like
see.
a month, right? Or no, less.
Less than a month. Few weeks, couple weeks.
Yeah, I know. I just feel like seeing all the people on social media, like I said, like getting rejected, and they're just like so sad. Like they feel like their life ended at that moment. I think you see that trend where it's like me in the library because my life didn't end when I didn't get accepted to my dream school.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I keep seeing those, and I'm like, guys, like hopefully if I don't go like where I want to go in 3 years, then like everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah. It
So
will. It's exciting.
exciting for you! Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
like
I'm
that's
excited.
so close. Do you think? Are you scared to like leave your home and like go
No.
potentially out of state? Really?
No, me and Alex have like weekly hikes, and so like on our last hike we were talking about this, and we are like, yeah, honestly, okay, it's of course like totally okay to be scared. Like it makes sense to be like scared to leave, but we're like, okay, she's going out. She's going to the East Coast too.
Dang.
We were like, yeah, but honestly, we're not scared at all. Like, I don't know. I'm not scared. I'm just really, really excited. I feel like I'm ready to go to college, and I'm like still like I'm enjoying the time that I have left in high school. Like I think this is like the best part, but I'm also really excited and I feel ready, and I feel like when the time comes, like I'll be like sad, but I'm not really like scared. I'm just like looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's kind of similar to like what a lot of my friends said going into high school. And for me, what I did was I like thought about it all throughout my time in middle school. And okay, this is kind of bad, but I just like thought about graduating. But I think that's beneficial to me because I was able to not take those moments for granted in the moment. Because I think a lot of people often go through life, go through high school, go through middle school, just like with the mentality of, like I want to go to the next step, like I want to do bigger things.
Where you're at.
Yeah, I think it's good to like enjoy where you're at and just have that sense of reality where it's like I'm gonna go to high school and or like I'm gonna go to college, but I think it's also good to not focus on the next step as much. If that makes sense. Okay, it's just
I
like
get it. Do you mean like kind of like having the next step
in mind.
Yeah. But you're not focused on it. You're still living in the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how. No,
Yeah.
I completely agree. I feel like I know that I'm gonna go to college in some months, so I'm like, I make the conscious effort to like hang out with my parents more and like hang out with my friends and like explore the Bay Area more and like go on day trips and like whatever it is. But like, I'm not like thinking about like I'm going to college. I just know that I'm going to college.
Yeah, and I feel like it's so much easier said than done.
Yeah.
But then like when you're actually there, like you said, like you're actually in that phase of your life where it's just like I'm excited for college, but then you said it'll probably sink in more when you
like,
actually,
it's bittersweet. Like I'll be sad, but I'm not like scared. I'm just like it's exciting. It's just a new chapter.
Yeah, I think something I want to start doing more is like why be scared for something that hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
Like it's okay. It sounds like so. There's kind of like two sides to it. Like I feel like it's like a benefit and a burden at the same time. Like why be scared? Why future trip over things that haven't even happened? Like obviously prepare yourself and like be conscious of it, but don't like overly be fixated. Yeah, don't overly like be fixated on something that hasn't even happened yet, because that's what something I do a lot is like, for example, like if I have like a volleyball tournament, I'm like, oh, like what if I do bad? Like what if I don't? What if I make a lot of mistakes? What if I like be a burden to my team? But it's like it hasn't even happened yet, so why am I even thinking about it?
Yeah.
You know?
And the other thing I think is like, so like what if? Like what are you gonna do? Like it's fine.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Yeah. I don't think you can like. I just think we all should like have less pressure on ourselves. Like put
Yeah.
less pressure on ourselves.
Yeah. I honestly think for me, like, I'm my biggest critic because, like I said, I'm always like constantly thinking about the past or the future. But I think now that I'm in high school, I can kind of be less focused on that and just more like living my life because I'm not gonna be a teenager forever,
Yeah.
you know. And I think that's something good about what you did is like even though you're balancing a lot, you still like gave time for yourself, and you still didn't overly focus on like getting into college. You just thought that like everything is gonna happen for a reason, and just like to continue doing the things that are meaningful to you, even if the colleges, even if other people don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Do you have any like final things you want to say to everyone?
No, just thank you so much for having me on. Like, this
Yeah.
is so much fun.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. And I think your journey is such a beautiful reminder that no no passion is too small and no dream is too big. And I think it's all about like taking those steps and like those small steps forward and just like trusting the process and embracing the imperfections along the way. And for everyone listening, remember to keep going, keep growing, and know that every step counts. Thank you for being with us on Let's Talk Matcha, and see you all for the next episode.